Next slide. Yes. Okay. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues. I'm delighted to present you our buildings education campaign to you today. The next slide. The building sector is one of the most important sectors when it comes to achieving the net zero target of Switzerland by 2050. In fact, the buildings are responsible for around a third of carbon dioxide emissions in Switzerland. An enormous number of heating systems need to be replaced. These are over 1 million fossil fuel-based heating systems and around 100,000 electric heating systems. That means that more than 30,000 fossil fueled heating systems need to be replaced with sustainable heating systems every year. And an estimated 1 million houses urgently need energy efficient renovation. Better thermal insulation and more airtight windows, for example, save up to 60% on heating energy. And third, we are in desperate need of more renewable energy. The PV, the photovoltaic market is booming. In 2022, PV installation increased by 80% compared to the previous year. But this, the actual power we have, we needs to be doubled again and maintained over the next 12 years. Next slide, please. The building sector has got a prosperous outlook and huge challenges to meet. The sector is not running out of work, that is for sure. The industry is crisis proof as demonstrated during the COVID crisis, and there is money to be made. What's more, they offer interesting and above all worthwhile future orientated work. The prospects for skilled workers in the building sector are therefore very good, but there is a massive shortage of skilled labor, as you can see on these headlines. The building sector has repeatedly confirmed this shortage of skilled labor. There are many reasons for this. It is not just the disappearance of the baby boomers, there is also a lack of new talents. The poor image of construction professions, difficult working condition, etc., doesn't really help and needs to be addressed. The sector can and must improve. A good image does not come about by itself, nor do people with the right skills. It doesn't always take a lot, but measures need to be taken and they need to be taken now. You can go on to the next slide, please. One indication of the shortage of skilled labor is the length of time a position remains vacant. There are really big differences between the various occupations. As you can see on this slide, in this graph, across Switzerland, vacancies are advertised online normally for an average of 43 days. Heating installers top this list. The vacancy for a heating installer remains online for an average of 76 days. For a secretarial staff, it's 23 days. Okay, can you go on? Next slide. We asked the companies and employees in a survey study what preconception they had about the sector and whether these preconceptions were true in reality. Here in this graph, we can see which factors are most likely to contribute to a negative image. The top factors are the high level of stress, the low social standing and unattractive working condition on the construction site. The harsh tone or low wages reinforce the poor image. As the survey shows, these preconceptions are not unfounded. The companies and employees say that many of these things are indeed true. That's what you see on underneath reality. Well, image and reality are here shown. And especially the stress and the social image is seems to be really bad. Interesting discrepancy on this slide or on this survey was like companies rate all the factors in question better than their employees. Okay, you can go to the next slide, please. Fearing that the energy and climate targets could fail due to a shortage of skilled labor, the education campaign for the building sector was launched. This to address the demand for skilled work labor and to strengthen technological skills within the sector to ensure the quality of work. Next slide. In 2021, Swiss Energy has taken the initiative and launched an intensive participatory process together with the relevant industry association in the building sector, key education institution and other institutional partners, as you can see here on this slide. Together with all the stakeholders, we developed a roadmap with a catalog of 32 measures. Of course, first and foremost, the building sector itself must act. Swiss Energy, a program of the Swiss Federal Office of Energy, has just a supporting role. What we can do, we can provide financial and technical support in the development of project ideas and also their implementation. We can initiate projects, we can foster networking and cooperation, but it's the building sector itself that must act. You can go on to the next slide, please. On this slide, you will find the link to the roadmap on the left. It's translated into, it's in German, French, and Italian. And to the right, you will see a graphic that shows our goals and action fields. We want to achieve our vision by pursuing 3 goals. That's recruit new skilled workers, strengthen professional skills, retain existing skilled workers. 4 fields of action we have been defined to achieve these goals. Next slide, please. Action field 1 and 2 on the left-hand side are the traditional fields of action where Swiss Energy has already supported many projects for several years now. The action field is about reinforcing vocational education and training and strengthening continuous training. The main focus here is on promoting specialist skills with measures in initial training or corresponding further training. 2 topics that have not been focused on to date are the promotion of apprentices and the promotion of lateral entrance into the sector. Therefore, we launched there also projects. For the action field on the right-hand side, these contain measures that the sector in particular should address more actively, namely increasing the attractiveness of the sector and improving its image. And in the field of action 4, networking and cooperation within the sector. Please go on. Here you can see our key visual for the education campaign with our 4 action fields again. For the next slides, I will briefly show you what has been done since the official launch in 2022. The following example on the slides focus on projects in 2023. Next. Yeah, I will start with sample projects that have been proactively tackled by Swiss Energy. And I just outlined some of these sample projects because if not, I talk for you an hour. A large survey was conducted in 2023. Around 600 companies, 750 employees, and 230 apprentices were taking part. This survey provided us with information on factors for which no statistical data was available. For example, what is the level of job satisfaction of the employees? Why do so many apprentices cancel their contracts during their apprenticeship? Because nowadays they're about around 30% of the apprentices they cancel their contract during their apprenticeship. Or another question was how much do companies promote and support further training for their workers, for their personnel. We have also launched a series of articles which were published in the magazines of all relevant associations. For example, an article on working time models, career changers, lateral entrance, or more women in the sector. These to highlight good examples and promote innovations. And now in the following slide, I will show you some of the projects that the building sector launched with financial support from Swiss Energy. In 2022, there were around 11 projects, and in 2023, there were 20 new projects. Let's start with vocational education and training. Here we primarily support projects that strengthen the VET or have an impact on the content of energy relevant qualification programs. In 2023, Swiss Solar, an association for solar energy, developed, for example, 2 new solar apprenticeships. The first apprentices to become solar installer with a federal exam will start this summer. Swiss Energy was providing financial support to develop the necessary professional marketing and the necessary learning materials for this new apprenticeship. Also in 2023, Bern University of Applied Sciences began revising the architecture degree program to better embedding the topic of sustainability in their programs. And it's the last example on the bottom. It intensified also the collaboration with the Architecture Council to anchor sustainability better in all architecture degree programs in Switzerland in future. Therefore, we fostered the exchange under these different schools and universities. Next slide. In this working field, we support associations so that they can develop their course program with the aim to improve energy efficiency and renewable energy skills of the professionals. We also support several conversion courses, for example, Refugees Go Solar, a project which helps refugees to get the necessary competencies for a job in solar installation, or the next one, Model F Swiss Solar, that's a basic conversion program for unemployed lateral entrance to solar installation. And these are mixed courses for people already working in the sector and unemployed in order to give the unemployed participants a chance to get into contact with companies. And so far as I know, all the participants, unemployed participants, they got their job after this course. Next slide, please. Well, yes, improving image. In cooperation with the umbrella organization of the building sector, we have been developing a concept for a joint image campaign. We had several roundtables with them and with their member associations. Besides this, the image campaign, Certainly, it is also important to take the companies along on the journey and support them in offering attractive jobs in order to overcome the negative factors of the work conditions I mentioned at the beginning. We have been placing now the implementation of all these activities for this image campaign into the hands of these two umbrella organizations and their members. We are at the key point here and hope that the sector really will pull now together, because we are sure the sector will only succeed in boosting visibility and becoming more attractive for apprentices and lateral entrants if it develops joint activities and if the whole sector really works together to reach this common goal. Yeah, I mean, there are some other projects here as well, like the Climate Energy Challenge Day for secondary level school, but these are of minor importance. Also, the material of the SVK. Okay, but you can go on. Just to the first one, last year Swiss Energy has been organizing the first national network conference with the help of the building sector. The event was very well attended and numerous projects were presented and discussed. And now again, we do have the challenge there to change roles and hand over the responsibility for the next National Network Conference in the hands of the sector. Well, we'll see if we get to this. Next slide and last slide. Some takeaways. I'm coming to an end of my presentation and I would like to give you some closing thoughts. The building sector is a key player to achieving energy and climate policy goals for Switzerland. The building sector has an excellent outlook for the future. Joint efforts and measures, we are convinced, are more effective and increase the visibility of the sector. The necessary measures have been identified. The sector must be perceived to be attractive by young people and those who influence them. And image campaigns can only be sustainable if the promises they make are really kept. Companies, especially small ones, must be picked along the way. And we as the federal government can only initiate steps and offer support, but the measures must be taken by the sector, the building sector itself. Okay, thank you very much for your attention. And I give back to Sam.
Well, thank you so much, Barbara. That was a really comprehensive overview of what you're doing in Switzerland. It seems like really fascinating survey results, and you seem to have a really comprehensive approach to trying to solve the problem. So good luck with your work there. We've had two great presentations. One really focusing in on one particular campaign or program, and the other looking across the wide range of things that you're doing in Switzerland. Now, while our audience thinks of questions they want to ask you in the remainder of the hour we have, I'm just going to very, very quickly, especially since we've taken up a little bit of time with the slides at the beginning, with the slide mix up at the beginning, just say the users TCP. For those that people don't know us, we are an international research collaboration program operating under the auspices of the IEA. We have 15 member countries, and our member countries support research projects that bring together researchers, academics, policymakers, industry from across our member countries to try and provide the evidence base that our policymakers need in order to accelerate the energy transition. And we really focus on the intersection of the social sciences and technology research in our TCP. There are many other TCPs that deal with particular technologies, but our sort of niche is in the socio-technical sphere. And you can see many of the tasks that we are undertaking currently, in fact, all of them that we're undertaking currently, and as well as our academy there at the bottom of this